Hello and welcome back to Back in the Saddle. It's early December here in the UK. It's a chilly one. It's about 9 degrees currently. But I woke up this morning to what I would say was unexpected blue skies and a little bit of sunshine, which you don't often get in early December here in the UK. And so I thought, right, I need to make the most of this. Let's get a few miles in, let's get out and chase the sunshine for a little bit. So here we are. Now, I put up a video last week all about the benefits of riding solo, and the results of that, the interactions that you've all made on the back of that, have amazed me actually. So not just from a comments perspective, which have all been brilliant, so thank you very much for leaving all of your comments, but equally from the results of the vote, because accompanying the video I put up a quick poll on YouTube, and the simple question was, group riding or solo riding, which do you prefer? And the results amazed me, because I had about 70 votes, which I was pleased with. I mean, in the context, 70 votes doesn't sound like a lot, but I was pleased with that as a result. But of those 70, 97% of you voted that you prefer to ride solo. 97%. Now, when 97% of motorcyclists agree on something, that's not just a trend, is it? That's the truth. And so I thought I wanted to look a little bit deeper into that this week. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to look at, 97% of us voted that we'd prefer to ride solo. What's going on there? Why is that the case? And what are the consequences of that? So when almost everyone asked says that they prefer to ride alone, well, it doesn't just send a message. I think it reshapes the whole story that we tell around motorcycling, because it proves definitively that those of us who like to ride alone, well, we're not the exception. Far from it. We are the beating heart of the motorcycling community. And as you all commented, the benefits of riding solo are obvious. The headspace that it gives us, the time, the freedom, just that ability to think, to get away from the noise. The busy life that we lead doesn't serve up solitude very often. And riding alone gives us that important solitude, just to reset and to get out and to reframe things. They're the benefits of it. But, and this is the thing that we all need to be acutely aware of, there's another side to riding solo as well. That 97% isn't just a number. It's thousands of riders like you and me, quietly chasing the same thing. Some by design, but some by circumstance. Some thrive in solitude, it's a choice, but others simply endure it. So many solo riders kind of comment that they ride alone because they either don't have a group or they don't have anyone to ride with. Some have drifted away from group riding because they just find the logistics of it and the environment of it more stressful than they do enjoyable. The whole bravado, the whole ego, the whole banter around it, while one time used to be enjoyable, maybe we don't find it as enjoyable anymore. But here's what we don't always see, right? Some riders aren't choosing solitude. They are simply living it out of necessity. Not because they want the road all to themselves. It's because the road is all they have. And that distinction actually matters a lot more than what we might think. So some ride at odd hours because that's what their work patterns dictate. They might work funny shifts or different hours to what most of us work, so they ride at hours that don't suit us. Some people ride at different paces because they're not comfortable at that group speed, or maybe because their health dictates that they have to ride in a certain way. Other people ride alone because they've just not found their tribe again after having moved away from the group or moved location, maybe. Or maybe they've changed the bike that they ride and they don't fit in with that kind of group culture anymore. Maybe we just lost touch with those old riding mates. Maybe we've lost them along the way. So, sometimes riding solo isn't a choice, it's a consequence. Some who say very little ride very far and don't always have someone to share it with. And those riders matter too, because behind the independence, behind the peace, there can sometimes be loneliness, a kind that we don't spot easily when everyone's wearing helmets. But here's the uncomfortable question, right? How aware are we of those riders who don't choose solitude but just have to live it? Do we see them at all, or do we see what we choose to see and expect to see? Do we think they're independent and self-sufficient and that they've got it sorted because that's what we see? Or are we able to pause long enough to give it a moment and to think, well, is there a little bit more to it here? Because it's so easy to make those assumptions, isn't it, when all we see is the surface. We see the rider, we see the gear, we see the bike, and we see how they ride as they ride past us, and we form our judgments and perceptions based around that. Because we look at life through our own visor all the time. But do we ever try to see life through their visor and how they might be living life and experiencing it themselves? Do we give them time? Do we give them a moment? Do we give them a question or the space to just be seen? Because that can make all of the difference. Do we give them that time and that moment? Or do we simply look away, assuming that they've got their life sorted because they look like they have? The truth is, we don't always spot loneliness when it's moving at 60 miles an hour. We don't always recognise isolation when it's wrapped in independence. And we don't always see a frown when it's hidden behind a visor. And sometimes the riders who need connection most are the ones that we assume need it least. So if we're not always kind of seeing it clearly, if loneliness can hide behind that veil of independence, then what actually can we look out for? Well, it's probably not going to be those dramatic signs. It's not going to be the obvious cries for help, because they are easy to spot really, but it's more the small kind of subtle patterns of behaviour that might just suggest that someone's riding alone more than they would actually choose to. Things like that rider who is kind of always there but never really part of it. They will turn up but they won't engage. They will always be a little bit kind of peripheral. They're always on the edge of conversations but never quite in them. So they might find it difficult to commit in that way. It might be the person who engages really well online. They're very active in the digital world, but when it actually comes to getting together in a group and physically interacting, that they kind of struggle with that. So they might be very active, but they don't actually turn up to the group rides. There's always a reason that they can't make it, for example. And always look out for the rider who used to be part of a group but isn't anymore. There's been that kind of subtle drop off and that subtle shift. And when you try to re-engage, you just get kind of vague responses like, well, my situation's changed, or I'm just doing things on my own now, Just be a little bit curious as to, is there a reason behind that? So as I say, these aren't definitive, and there are lots and lots of other kind of subtle signs and signals that we can look out for as well. They're not proof of anything at all, but they are just subtle invitations where we might find a way to open up a conversation. And if we do that, they might just welcome that connection if it's offered. Not with force, not with any pressure, but just that subtle invitation to connect in some way can, do more good than we ever think it can do. Because here's the thing, noticing isn't the same as fixing. Noticing is simply seeing someone, really seeing them, and letting them know in small ways that they're not invisible. That's where it starts. Just notice, don't fix. So if you have noticed someone, now what? Because this is where kind of good intentions can all go a little bit sideways if we're not careful, because the instinct can be to do too much, to kind of try and solve everything, to be there all the time, to treat that person as a bit of a project that needs to be fixed. But that will only push people further away and make them retract a little bit more. So what does it actually look like? Well, in reality, it's low pressure, it's subtle, it's not something like, you should come out with us every single time. It's little things like, well, I'm heading out to Box Hill next week if you fancy it. No pressure if you don't want to, but the invitation's there if you want it, It's something as subtle as, do you know what, it's really good to see you again. It's kind of following their lead, If they like to ride alone, let them ride at their own pace. If they want to peel off, let them peel off. It's up to them, It's not about convincing someone to ride to your rhythm, it's about allowing them to ride to theirs as well. And it's about consistency, not intensity. It's just those little things done often, the subtle things done often are far more impactful than the big gestures that are never done, or the big gestures that just feel false and too much, It's connection without pressure. That's the key to this. It's acknowledging, it's seeing, it's opening up a conversation, it's connection without pressure. It's not forcing, it's not solving, it's not fixing, it's just being there and being a good human. That's all this is about. The goal isn't to fix loneliness. The goal is to offer presence, to be the rider who sees them. That's how community forms. Not through those grand gestures, but through the quiet, consistent recognition that someone belongs here, whether they ride alone or ride with others. And sometimes that simple recognition, that sense of being seen, is enough. So if last week was all about the benefits of riding alone, well, this week is perhaps more about understanding what that choice does actually reveal. Of course, solo riding gives us peace, it gives us headspace, it gives us solitude and all those things that we spoke about last week. Of course it does. But I think it also reminds us that it's really important to look out for each other, especially those riders whose helmets and visors might be hiding a little bit more than just their eyes, So by all means, ride solo. It's beautiful. It has many, many benefits, of course. But let's not be scared to reach out to those others who might just be drifting a little bit. And if you are watching this and scrolling through your comments, let me know. Have you sat there alone at the cafe, drinking your coffee and chewing on your sausage sandwich, just wishing that someone would kind of come and engage with you? Or have you ever been the person who's reached out to someone who has felt unseen? So let's go a little bit deeper. Let's share those stories that we don't normally share. Let's remind each other that even though we ride alone, we are never actually alone, are we? So that's it. This is Back in the Saddle. My name's Rob, as you know, and I'll be back again with another video before too very long. Thank you so much for watching this far if you have. Thanks for all of your comments and your engagement. It means the world, it really does. Ride safe, stay safe, enjoy, and I'll be back again really soon. Take care.